Hello class, this is Mario Cunha, your SI for Math 200. I want to run over what will be covered on Lab 3. I'm not going to give you the answers, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but I want you to understand the code. So we're going to start with this. Make sure that you have these slides. So make sure you do copy of it and change it so that it's your name here. Remember, you got to format this on your own. So make sure that it looks nice. Make sure that it's your own work and not just you put the information on the boxes. Now, moving on. If we go here to SAS Studio, normally if you haven't run any code, you're gonna see this here. And if you already sign up for the class, you will see files, my share links, and then open this and you will see Flint water samples. If you open that one, double click it, you'll get to see this page. You wanna click edit, program one, it's gonna open. And let's go to the beginning. Okay, so first of all, you're only gonna see this at the beginning. So one thing to do first is this is not at the beginning. This is gonna say word import. Okay, so word.fling is the name I assigned to it. So every time you wanna have your own code, you can change this to anything that makes sense to you. So for example, if you wanna change it to water supply, then that works. But just make sure that it's something that makes sense to you, is short, and is consistent. And don't just write W because, for example, or any letter just because you won't remember. Hey, what is W? You won't remember. So make sure it's something that you can remember. Now, like I say, keep it consistent. So if you change word.fling here, change it here, and change it on your code. Like for example here. But don't change it when it is say wet open table or wet draw table because that's what it's saying. That's what is giving you the information that you have. Now moving on. For this lab, you want to create a data. This we did on a previous lab, so make sure that you have this. What this is well, you say I want to create a new data and I want to give it a name. In this case, I gave it the name Flink2. But you can call this whatever. You can call it water supply 2. For example, you can call it hello, which is not a nice, it's not a really useful name because you won't remember what hello means, but you can pretty much call it whatever. Just make sure to be consistent. Every time you use Flint2, for example, for me, make sure to keep it like that on the rest of the code. Now, what this is doing is saying, okay, I want to create a new data called Flint2, but I want to call the data from somewhere else. So I want to set it so that the data is coming from or Flint1. But now I have to write some limitations for this. So if we set it up so that it tells us, okay, I want the same data, but tell me if it's safe or unsafe instead. So if PP1 is safe, if it's greater than 15, tell me that it's safe. If it's not greater than 15, if PP1 is greater than 15, tell me that it's unsafe. If it is not, then tell me it is safe. This is pretty much what this is saying. Now, you want to make sure to use this format to type it. And then if you run it, and I'm actually going to run this code so that you see how it looks, you will see this. So you will see the level, safe, unsafe, and you'll see another way to check is if you see the level here, this is a shortcut to check, then you have it. But just double check, make sure this is working. Now, let's go to code, and I'll guide you to what each chart does and how to understand them. I'm not gonna run this code just because I don't want you guys to take my video and make a screenshot from my code and just put it on your work. I want you guys to actually try it on your own. So start with the pie chart. I'm gonna explain you what this means. So we start with procedure, which is our normal format to call to proceed to do something. And then if we want to do a pie chart, we call G chart. And what this does is say, okay, I want this type of chart, and in this case, if you see it's a pie chart. So what we're saying is prop G chart called data flim2 make me a pie chart that is based on the level. So based on the level, meaning the level of here that is unsafe or safe. So make me a pie chart of all the values that are safe and all the values that are unsafe. Okay, now if you notice, I have two codes for pie chart, and the other code is just the same as this, but it's formatted. In other words, here the percent is the only thing that changes. So you want to make sure you have a backslash and then percent. And what this does is tells, okay, I have the same pie chart, but I'm gonna give you a percentage. And you can change this. In this case, I have it inside the chart, but you can change it to any of the options. You can have arrows, you can have inside, you can have none, or you can have it outside as a percentage. So whatever you feel is best. And you can do this for your work on the slides so that it looks different. Now, if we keep moving on, let's go to bar chart. And again, I'm not gonna run this chart just because I want you guys to try it. If we go to bar chart, there's a few different charts that we can do. One of them is vertical. So we go with prop, and in this case, since we want this type of chart, we call sgplot. We call again data from flim2, and then we say, okay, I want a vertical bar chart, but I want it to be based on the level. Again, the level meaning safe or unsafe. So it's going to give me a bar chart detailing what is safe and what is unsafe. If we go lower on our code, you'll see that I have this thing here, which is basically the same here, with the only difference that this is an H and this is a B. What that do is it tells me, okay, I want a vertical bar with all the values that with all the data that I just explained to you, and this tells me, okay, I want a horizontal bar with all the data that I just explained here. So what is safe, what is unsafe. You can use this for your lab, or if you're feeling that you want to format it and you want it to look nice, you can also adapt it. So if we go here, you select prop sgplot, and then same thing, and then you can select color style, which what that does is it tells you, okay, can you do like a line on the right that tells me, okay, this is the level for safe, this is the level of unsafe on colors. So it's just for it to look nice. So I suggest you guys try it. And then if you run it, it should look similar to these two, but with some extra style. Frequency tables. Well, I suggest you try this on your own. I'm not gonna explain this one. I think we already covered this before. With the only difference that we have plugs here, so frequency plugs. So try this one, see what it does. Make sure to look for it. Make sure to try it. Okay, now this one I'm actually just gonna run just because it's not really part of the chart and I want you to see it. So if we go to prop univariate data equal flim2, so called flim2, we call the variable ppp1, and what that does is tell us all the information that we have for ppv1. So if we go here, we should see some tables for all the information. So for example, median, Q3, Q1, minimum, maximum, all of that information and other stuff. But if we go here and we do this, which is pretty much the same as this, but we plot, it's also going to give us some plots, so some graphs. So let's see this. So if you go here, you look at that, you'll see some graphs at the end of ppv1. Now, these are not as important as this, but these are just for you to reference and see what the values of the data are giving you. Okay, moving on, we have histograms. There's two methods to histograms. One of them you can format. Method one is with prop sgplot. So we call again data flim2, and we say, okay, give me a histogram, and I want this histogram to be for the variable ppv1. Quick recap though, make sure to do this for all the variables ppv1, ppv2, and ppv3 because you may need it. So if you go up top, let me go back for a minute, let me back down for a minute. If you go here, make sure to do this for ppv1, ppv2, ppv3. You may have to change flink2 to a different variable. Now moving on, if we go back to histogram, like I was saying, you say proc sg plot data flink2 histogram ppv1. You can change that to ppv2, ppv3, but you may have to change the flink2 to a different data set. So you may not need to create a new data set. And you can do that with all the codes that we just run through. Okay, so this is just gonna give me a histogram. Now, if we use the same univariate method that we used here on the top, this will give us first all the values and then the data. So I'm gonna run it, but I'm gonna not show you the histogram just because I don't want you to. I want you to try it on your own. Okay. So like you see, you will see the same stuff that you see with the other code. Plus at the end is gonna be the histogram. So I'm gonna skip that for now. Make sure to do it on your own. Now, if you do the formatting, this is just the same stuff as the first method with the difference that you can format it. So this, like I say at the beginning, if you want your graphs to look nicer, this is a way to do it. So if you do data scheme, you can select here what type of data scheme you want, and you can have different options. So for example, you can have Chris, Gross, Mate, Place, and Sheen. I like this one a lot, so I'm gonna stay with that one. You can also change the width of the histogram. So this will give you a width of 10. Now, if you are not sure what width is the best for you, run this code first, the original, and then try this one and try to like adjust the width to whatever it looks nicest for you. X-axis is just gonna give you the values for the X-axis. If you run the code from before, you're gonna notice a lot of them don't have the X-axis values. If you have X-axis, that's gonna give it to you. Now, that's all for histograms. Let's move forward to box plot. Last but not least, box plot this is what we do with the 5-point summary. So box plot is a quick way to summarize what we find on our 5-point summary and summarize the outliers in the graph. What this is saying is, again, we call in prop, which is our variable that we call most of the time, and we select sg plot data equal flink2. So we call in flink2 again. Vertical box, so b box is equal to ppb1. So we're doing a vertical box plot of ppb1 and we run it. Now this one is the same, but we're doing the horizontal again. So you just change the h or b to whatever you feel looks better. If you go to the last one, this is a group vertical box plot, and what this does is you say, okay, I want the same thing. I want a box plot from flink2, but I just don't want all the information in one box plot because I don't think that will tell me anything about it. So in this case, I want to run it by the zip code, and what that's going to give you is a bunch of box plots based on the zip code. And again, you can change this to Word. So if you go to the first code, and I'm just gonna use this as reference, you don't have to do this. You can see here all the data that we have as variables. You can run it as Word or you can run it as zip code, as these are categorical variables. So if you go back to code, you go down here, you'll see zip code as one of the categories that you can run it with. You can also run it as Word, and that may be as on the lab for you. So make sure to run it. Make sure to try it, make sure it works. If it doesn't, then ask questions, refer back to the video, refer back to the worksheet, the PDF that I upload at Canvas. So this will be all. If you have questions, please ask. And oh wait, one quick thing. If they ever ask